Hello, everyone. So, one of the treatments that's being discussed is blood infusion from someone who's already recovered from COVID-19 and has the antibodies, and maybe they have enough antibodies to help another with donating their blood, and then you have the blood infusion from someone that is struggling with COVID-19. So again, to preface with all of these videos is that I'm not a doctor, and the idea is to understand the spiritual side of the treatments, the psychological side, and to understand in our inner psyche, in our soul, what is means to rectification according to Torah, and specifically the inner dimension of the Torah as taught in Kabbalah and Chassidus. So we spoke about the interplay between Chachma and Bina, wisdom and understanding. And the idea, so we mentioned that the blood, the circulatory system corresponds to Bina, to the feminine consciousness. It's an infusion is infusing, to abstract it, is like infusing wisdom, the wisdom that has been learned, the wisdom of the body, in order to combat COVID-19. So it's like the wisdom included within the blood, within Bina, Chachma Sheva Bina. And again, it's this union with Chachma and Bina together, of wisdom and understanding together. Or as we explained, like the duality between we mentioned it between light and water and firmament, ultimately, but or between in the last video, between lightning and thunder. So it's the innate, bringing out the innate wisdom to overcome. So I'm just going to read, this is again from Body, Mind, and Soul, this book by Rabbi Ginsburg. And here it was speaking in terms of lupus, but this specific section psychologically relates to the experience of COVID-19. The immune system ensures the antibodies are produced when needed and in the right quantity. When too many antibodies are produced, instead of warding off illness, they start fighting among themselves. Psychologically, this can be likened to a person who is over-concerned and over-worried about disease. His hypersensitivity makes him more likely to feel ill and often to actually become ill. So this is well shown that a healthy state of mind, staying in a positive state of mind, and also very important not to fear, to approach the facts, but not to have fear. We should have trust, faith and trust that in God, that God is the healer of all flesh. So it's also very interesting because here this other person that has gone through this experience is donating his blood. Where do we see this in relationships? It's called Mashpia Makabel. You have a spiritual guide, a spiritual counsel, who's like a teacher, who's guiding the student who's receiving. And the teacher has gone through it, presumably. That's the best kind of teaching, is someone who's actually been through it and lived through it, and then they're sharing their stories, their examples, their teachings to another. So part of sharing these teachings, the experience, is not to make it seem bigger than it is, right? The fact is that the vast majority of people recover. And God willing, we hope that, first of all, that the plague should be erased and removed entirely. But anyone who's currently going through experiencing COVID-19 should immediately be healed, but also to confront it for what it is and not to just take it head on. So someone who's gone through it has both, in terms of their blood, their itself, but also in their stories and experience. So this is psychologically, this is helpful to have in mind. In Kabbalah, rectified Hod, we've been talking about the sphere of Hod, which corresponds to the immune system, as we learned in this book again by Body, Mind, and Soul by Rabbi Ginsburg. Is characterized by walking simply with God. So we discussed this a lot. To walk simply with God implies that we focus all our efforts and thoughts on accomplishing our mission in life, trusting God to care for the well-being of our body and soul. A person who embodies this attitude does not worry about disease. Rather, he is always conscious of God as the healer of all flesh and doer of wonders. So when we walk simply with God, when we don't try to speculate about the future, just simply serve wholeheartedly, earnestly, simply we serve God, and we acknowledge God and we're thankful for God, so then we're able to receive blessings, able to receive a positive influence, to take in positive change. And so in this term, in having a blood infusion, it's taking in the positive, either literally in the antibodies themselves, or to appreciate and acknowledge the experience that another person healed from this, and he's willing to help me, he or she is willing to help me in my experience. And this is a great lesson in that we're all in this together. We're all responsible for another. We're all here to help another. So, okay, to continue. The innate wisdom of the immune system lies in its adaptability, its ability to experiment through trial and error, to detect and ward off threats to the body. To do this, it creates antibodies, which come in contact with foreign substances and eradicate them. The expression of the sages, that there is none so wise as one who possesses experience, reflects this learning ability in the immune system. When something invades the body, the immune system senses it and learns to respond. So this is what we explained, that who is wise? Someone who knows, learns from experience, who takes lessons, takes even constructive criticism, learns from everyone. And it says even maybe they learn the most, the teacher learns the most from the students. That by giving blood, that they see the true nature of their own goodness by the fact that they were able to give and to help others. It brings out they call it the humanity, right? The goodness, innate goodness in all of us. So this is again one potential treatment, blood infusion. This is the psychology and the Kabbalah a little bit behind that. Thank you.